Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar brought to you by Square and MarketMan. Today, we're going to talk to you about 3 ways to master hospitality success with a particular focus on technology, point of sale data, and inventory management. Introducing your hosts for today's webinar. My name is Fiona O'Regan, and I'm the restaurant marketing lead for Square in the UK.
And I'm Justin Anderson. I'm a Square lead here in the UK, working with small and medium-sized restaurants, helping them evaluate and onboard with Square.
My name is Matt Hardoon. I lead sales and partnerships here at MarketMan. We've actually been working closely with Square for 7, nearly 8 years at this point. We have thousands of mutual customers together across the globe, and I'm so happy to have been invited to join today. Thank you, Fiona. Thank you, Justin.
And finally, I'm David Hume, and I'm responsible for the UK and Ireland market for MarketMan. We've got such a close relationship with Square, and I'm looking forward to the webinar and discussing how we work together.
So today we're going to give you a little introduction and then cover off our 3 ways to help you master hospitality success. Firstly, how can technology help? What insights does your point of sale hold? And then inventory management for profitability, along with a wrap up. Just to start off with, just to give you a bit of background on who Square is. Square is a provider of restaurant technology, supplying a one-stop shop for all your restaurant's payments, point of sale, reporting, and much, much more. We have a powerful global footprint with over 4 million businesses run by Square using over 36 different Square products. In 2022, Square processed 4 billion individual sales transactions and over $186 billion in payments.
MarketMan is the global leader in back-of-house technology. And I guess what does back-of-house technology really encompass? It encompasses inventory, procurement, recipe costing, and reporting. And the systems together with communicating seamlessly through API connection, gives the operator an additional layer of control. We are present in 57 different countries around the world, the UK and Ireland being 2 of those. And we're trusted by leading brands in the UK, to mention a few, like Robuchon, Honest Burgers, Locanda Locatelli. Yeah.
So we wanted to start off by really acknowledging that these are difficult times for the hospitality industry. First and foremost, front of everybody's mind, labor shortages. So we know that recruiting staff is a challenge, but also once they've been recruited, workers are also now seeking stability, safety, consistency, and professional development in order to stay.
I think with regards to labor shortage as well, from a MarketMan perspective, when we're talking to customers, what we also find is that retaining those customers, that staff, like you mentioned before, giving the staff systems and making their jobs easier is becoming more in the forefront of the minds of hospitality operators, because actually they don't want the churn of staff. They want to keep them happy. They want to keep them in the business. And by giving them systems that's easy to use and easy to master and makes their jobs easier is absolutely key.
I've recently seen a CV from a hospitality worker, and in the bottom it said, proficient in MarketMan, and that made me smile. As a selling point, hire me. I know how to use it already. Thought that was funny.
Well, what we see as well is that when we are hiring and looking for new members of staff, being able to have systems which are super easy to use is top of mind. Like the quote which really stands out to me from what I've heard, and this is across the hospitality industry, is it needs to be as easy to use as an iPad. It needs to be intuitive. You need to be able to learn it fast, right? We're constantly in a place where we need to find new talent to meet our needs as businesses. And so having something that's super easy to use, super intuitive, and as easy an iPad as using an iPad, that's definitely key.
You can train your staff to use Square in under 15 minutes, which obviously is key for areas with high turnover. You don't want to be wasting time getting them to teach how to use the point of sale when they could just be hitting the ground running.
It's like gone are the days where you actually hire somebody exclusively to manage your system.
Yeah.
Those days seem long gone now. I think moving on to rising costs from MarketMan's perspective, what we're seeing, across the globe, most of the issues are exactly the same. Rising food costs, costs of living, fuel crisis, etc. In Europe, the Ukraine war has added to that complexity. And then in the UK, we've got Brexit as well. And actually managing those rising costs is absolutely key to an operator either staying in business at the very least or actually making a profit. And if they don't really have a grip on understanding how their margins are being impacted by these rising costs, then they're finding it very difficult to operate. And that's where integrated systems come in, like Square and MarketMan, that feed that data and feed insights is absolutely key.
To build on that just a bit, David, I find that so many operators have a static view of their costs when they're just in their new opening mode. They're going through menu planning and analysis. They cost out the entire menu, and they think that they know what it costs. And they do know at that moment in time. And then it's immediately outdated as the price of fish and protein and fresh produce and dairy products fluctuating week in and week out. And as staff members are overportioning or underportioning or going through waste or potentially even theft, gaining access to a system that provides insights to actual versus theoretical price change notifications gives you better control over those rising costs, so that at least you're in a seat of decision-making ability to intervene when necessary.
Yeah. And these prices are also changing at different levels, right? So different goods are changing at different rates. Some are going up, but some are even coming down. And so actually getting a handle of that when you have something which is a component of lots of different ingredients and figuring that out is something that's not easy to do on the fly. You may have a sense of it, but actually understanding what it really means and how it hits that bottom line is definitely something we have a lot of conversations about at the moment.
I think it's key as well, having those integrated systems. So once they've got that insight, they can make changes on Square and get that immediately pulling into MarketMan so that it's matching all of that data up. And, again, the integration side of things, this, tech stack, as everybody calls it, or like future proofing is absolutely top of mind at the moment.
Speaking of future proofing, we all know that new consumer trends are emerging all the time, and it means that now more than ever, the industry really needs to innovate in order to satisfy the demands for diversity, customization, quality, and sustainability. Not only are customers looking for new ways to order and pay with click and collect or with delivery services, but also there's sustainability factors, with packaging, with demands on low waste, which is a great area where MarketMan can really help identify restaurants about where they can save money, not only just for their bottom line, but also to satisfy these sustainability demands that are coming from customers.
To tie all three of these topics together, it's actually one of our opening scripts in every single merchant conversation that we have with the Square merchant that's seeking MarketMan. We ask, typically, operators are coming to us for one of three reasons. Number one, they want to automate manual tasks so that they can save on labor shortages. Number two, they want access to insights around their menu, their profitability, their COGS, costing out different menus. Or third, they just want access to reporting and details on data that they haven't seen before. Which one sounds the most like you? And at the end of the day, I think that's how the technology can help in all three of those areas.
It's a perfect segue into our first point. How exactly can technology help? So whilst unfortunately, we can't help influence the factors that are facing the industry, what we can do is offer technology to help manage the impact of these challenges. Technology is really here to help you do more with less and support you. Justin, how exactly can we help?
Well, I think the first thing I'd say is that, all of us on the call here have all worked in hospitality and restaurants before in the past. And in all of our experiences that we've seen, no one's ever started a restaurant business because they're thinking, this is the chance to use technology. You're doing it because it's a thing of passion. You're doing it because you have a really great idea and you want to make it work and you want to do it yourselves. Technology seems to fall after that. After you've got that great idea, you've got that great vision, but actually it's a big part of actually making that vision a reality, because otherwise you spend all your time doing things which isn't the fun part. It's the admin side. It's looking through reports or even trying to get reports which are accurate, which with not having the right technology, you're not really going to be able to deliver on. So how are restaurants using technology? What we see is about 74% of restaurants in the UK are using multiple applications to run their business with little or no integration. And you can see why. What happens is you try and do something for your counter service, something for your sit-down menu. You want to adopt QR codes, and you look at adopting all these different things which act as a single point solution, which solves that one challenge which you're seeing at the time. The challenge is that as soon as you adopt more and more of these different technologies, you realize that you're going to need data from different parts of it to make them speak to each other, to actually get some real insight as to what your view of the customer is and your view of the operations are. We see that businesses typically have different providers for point of sale, for delivery solutions, for e-commerce, for accounting, loyalty, marketing, QR codes, stock management. It just goes on. And all these things you have to do as an operator, it's just really difficult because there's so many different facets which you have to account for, update. And with each one of those updates, it can create inconsistencies in the data. It causes mistakes to be made, costs time, it costs money, and it doesn't really give you a complete view of your business or your customer. So while technology can help you address all those individual areas, the key really is having all these things speaking to each other. So you actually get a full view of what's happening in the business. And when you make changes, that it's going to be reflected across your business. What we see it is kind of the journey from having a fragmented view from different platforms into a single view. And that's across your payments, your orders, your staff, your customers, your inventory, crucially, and indeed your whole operations. What we find is that about half of UK restaurants are looking for some new tech that provides that single view. So we're not the only ones saying it. It's something I think everyone feels the pain about trying to get to that place. But what are some of those advantages about actually when you get to that place where it works? I mean, two of the main ones which we see time and time again are just in the amount of time that you save and also in terms of staffing. So one customer which we worked with recently is Hammersmith Apollo. And when they moved to Square, what they found is that they needed to keep tens of staff on site, paid overtime until the early hours of the morning after you've done a long shift to ensure the cashing up process at the end of the night was accurate. But when they moved to Square, even on the first night, they were able to do this and get the process done immediately. And the staff were able to get home at the end of the shift, which makes everyone happy, rather than needing to wait around until the numbers added up.
Amazing. So a single view can actually give you the gift of time. That's fantastic news. But there is more. So your point of sale helps you take orders and payments. But actually, how else can it help you? There are a lot more insights in there to uncover.
Yeah, absolutely, Fiona. The point of sale holds so many insights. It's got so much data in it, especially when you have these systems talking to each other, and it helps you make smarter business decisions. So getting to a complete customer view, whether that's using Square's platform alone or that you're integrating with partners like MarketMan and indeed any of the other partners we have as part of our app ecosystem, helps you get that. Some key trends that we find when speaking with customers is that they're able to just make simple tweaks to their business to make their business just way more efficient using this data. So firstly, it can be as simple as finding out what sells on the menu. Are there certain items that are popular? Are there certain items that are not? Should you consider removing them? We find that businesses are stocking items that they think will sell well, but when they don't have the data to back it up, when they review it, they find it's easy to tweak and they can double down on what's actually working rather than what's not working. And you can look at the costing associated with it. You can look at tweaks, which are down to popularity. Maybe various ingredients are more popular than others. Sometimes it's just a question of that. Secondly, you can do it by shifting open hours. Are there certain times of the day where it doesn't make sense to be open, and sometimes when it does make sense to be open? Are you looking at extending those opening hours? We often see that changing these times, even by an hour, potentially in either direction, can shift profitability and help you actually staff appropriately for these busier times. Also, with live sales, you can check your sales from anywhere. In many cases, I hear this time and time again, managers or owners have to be physically on site to generate key reports, which they need to report to their business, to investors, to themselves, and just really have an understanding of cash flow within the business. With Square, you can actually see how your restaurant is doing, even when you're not on site. Maybe you're somewhere else, maybe you're on holiday with just your phone or your laptop, but you can do it in real time. So that's a view of what you have in terms of sales data and indeed data across the business is all accurate. It's there, it's actionable, and you can see it as it's happening. You can see the sales going through. You can see when someone's literally buying a coffee or someone's ordering a burger as it comes through in your sales reports as that sale actually happens, which is really cool. The other thing we see is actually in terms of customer retention. So restaurants often find it really difficult to reward their most loyal customers. They know they want to be doing something. 56% of businesses have a loyalty program in place and 32% want to introduce one within the next year. And we worked recently with TenderCow, and TenderCow used Square's loyalty program and leveraged the POS data they had within Square to reward their best customers. and actually found out that they spent 84% more on average compared to customers that weren't part of the program. It was huge, a really, really big game changer for them. You can also encourage customers to come on low traffic days. 46% of restaurants offer happy hours or special offers. And if they're not doing it currently, a lot of them are actually looking to do this within the next year. With Square Marketing, you can easily send coupons for customers' birthdays, or quickly and easily drive business on slower days by putting on midweek or special offers, maybe for a burger, maybe Taco Tuesdays, whatever's popular in your local area, or by doing happy hours when business is slow and you want to drive people in and have that experience over a longer period of time. You can use this data in a really full way by getting a complete customer view and actually automate what offers go to customers. So that way that the right message lands to the right customer at the right time.
Sorry, Mark, go on.
Oh, sorry, David, didn't mean to cut you off there. All that I was going to say was that as Square obviously provides a tremendous amount of insight on to the POS side of things, the back office is one area where MarketMan can complement and extend. And that's really where we think of ourselves as the tag team partner, the complement and the extension to POS, to give you the insights that Square might not be able to, might not hold, as we're talking about inventory, as we're talking about recipe costs, as we're talking about stock as it depletes. So MarketMan is all about effective inventory, order, and cost management. It's essential for recipe control. It's essential for preventing wastage. We address all those challenges through automated ordering, tracking, real-time alerts, and then facilitating just all these different data-driven purchasing decisions. So it seems like a system of inputs, right? It's the operational tool to manage your day-to-day, eliminating clipboards, eliminating pen and paper, eliminating Excel. But the desired outcome is right here on the right side of the screen, to reduce the amount of time that you spend on manual tasks. Most users within the first 90 days cut the amount of time that they spend doing the nitty-gritty manual tasks in half. They lower their food costs somewhere in the range of 2 to 7%, depending on where they're starting from. And then, of course, with the invoice tracking, delivery note reconciliation, integration with external food service distributors, you can save a tremendous amount of time managing invoices. Now, at the end of the day, it's the integration between Square and MarketMan that allows you to track these profitability margins. For those of you that still don't quite understand what's happening here, there's just an interconnectivity between the two platforms. Square managing front of house, if we walk up and we order, let's call it a cheeseburger, gets entered into the till, it then gets depleted in real time through the MarketMan back office. We're going to remove a 200-gram beef patty. We're going to remove 1 sesame seed bun. We're going to remove 2 slices of cheese. That's going to let you know what you're running low on, when it's time to place a new order, when those items have become more or less profitable. And it's all about gaining control and transparency. On average, the annual profit increase per location is nearly 20,000 pounds. But David, I cut you off before that long monologue. So, what were you going to say?
I loved it, Matt. I thought it was great. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What I was going to say was touching on a couple of your points, Justin, actually, about having that control and access to systems from wherever you are. I think what we're finding now is, gone are the days where people can be on site all of the time. It just doesn't happen, especially if you've got multiple locations. So they need access and visibility from wherever they are. And then if we look about kind of the transfer of data, pulling that sales data in from Square, it's pivotal for many different reasons. Matt just mentioned about the depletion of stock, but also if we, going back to, specifically looking at the UK and the challenges we face here with rising costs, not only are we able to fire off real-time alerts when the margins on dishes are being impacted by those fluctuations in stock, but we feed the sales data directly in from Square, and that now feeds one of our new features, which is a machine learning algorithm that we call suggested par. So this looks at historical sales data and sales forecasting versus the stock that you've previously ordered, and it starts to bring all of this data together and give those insights to help make a business more profitable and certainly a lot more automated. But it's that communication and that integration that's absolutely key to that.
Fantastic. So to recap everything that we've covered, the 3 ways to master hospitality success, in our opinion, are: firstly, harnessing your technology to give you a single view of your restaurant operations, so you can see everything that's happening in your restaurant all from one platform. Secondly, make informed business decisions based on insights from your restaurant, based on your sales data and what's happening in real time on your premises. And thirdly, optimize your margins with granular sales data and menu reports. If you have any questions or would like to learn more, please reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. On behalf of David, Matt, Justin, and myself, thank you so much for tuning in.